This is the HorrorVision podcast where two moderately dumb people talk about horror movies. Um, Hopefully entertainingly, but most likely not. I don't know. But I am John Hunter. I made the podcast. I do all the work. And then Boog shows up and then just acts like an idiot for anywhere between 40 minutes to an hour. So, Boog, let him know who you are.
Alright, so I am Bug. Um, I am extremely dumb, and I'm here to give reviews on movies that I don't understand.
That's a
So,
Book,
if
I
we're
would
gonna,
equate you to like the average moviegoer. Everybody's dumb anymore. I'm not saying that I'm not dumb, but I would like to think I'm slightly less dumb than the average person.
uh, I don't know. All I can say, the only reason why I kind of belong here is I really enjoy movies, and I've seen a shit ton of them.
That's true. That is true.
Um,
Maybe you are qualified,
kind of qualified.
semi-qualified.
I don't know. I am Bug, and I have terrible opinions. But let's get into my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now that we got the incredibly awkward intro out of the way, um, we'll go into the movie that we saw. Was that
Last night.
was that Friday, Saturday?
Sunday.
That was two. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was last night then. All right.
Yeah. We try to make plans to go see it earlier, but life happens.
Hey, shit
Here
happens.
we are.
All right. So, the movie we're going to talk about today is Crawl. It is a movie about alligators.
Oh, it's not an alligator; it's a crocodile. Let's get that straight.
No, it's alligators. It's Florida, bug.
Whatever.
So you're telling me you just watched a what is like an hour and a half movie about alligators trying to eat people, and you thought it was a movie about crocodiles trying to eat
Well, tomato.
No, that's not how that worked. So the movie started out like referencing it. She went to the University of Florida, whose mascot is Bug.
Florida, crocodile.
No, Florida Gators, you piece of shit.
Yep.
But yeah, it was alligators. Anyway,
Yeah.
so the movie, it's like a disaster film. Um, Basically, daughter goes to see her father to see how he's doing in a Category 5 hurricane, which, if you're not familiar with hurricanes, is high on the category that it goes. I don't think it goes high. Actually could be wrong. I could be lying
Yeah.
about
Let
that.
me sum up hurricane scale for
Yeah,
you.
break a little
Five is
break. Yeah,
bad.
because that's why everyone came here to talk about hurricanes. But come on. All right, yeah, but like
Five is
if
big.
you do know the information, I would like to know how high categories of hurricanes go.
You want? All right.
No, I don't want to actually know, Book. I'll Google it later. I actually do want to know, but so anyway, directed by, and I have trouble saying this dude's name. He has directed some pretty good horror movies, but it's Alexandre Aja. I don't know. Anyway, his last name's spelled AJA, and it's like I don't actually know like the technical word for it, but his last name's not Asia, whatever it is. It's actually he's French, and it's like his actual like three like major name points together. I think it's like Alexander Jean Arcady, and that just summed down as Asia. So if you ever had that book, like he just would have some stupid last name, but his seems pretty cool, pretty French. He's directed. Uh, I don't know if you've seen these ones. Pretty good High Tension has a pretty cool twist at the end. Like a
Not
slasher
familiar
type
with it.
flick. You should watch that one. That one's pretty good. He did
Mm.
the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, which call me crazy, but I kind of like it better than the original. It was pretty
I've
gruesome.
only seen pieces of the first one. All I remember when I first saw the remake of it, when was that? Mid 2000s, early
Hmm
2000s.
Yeah, it came out
I
06.
I was scared to death.
Yeah, he
I
did a
was
really
I was
that one's
young then,
like
but
that was like during the height of like the remakes where they're like super gritty, like kind of so gross that it makes you want to take a shower. Like
Yeah,
almost too real. I like a little
yeah.
bit of like campy in my movies, which this movie we're gonna talk about definitely has. So I do like that. He did
Hmm.
Mirrors, which wasn't bad, with Kiefer Sutherland. He did the Piranha remake, Piranha 3D, which that was a fun movie. Um, you ever see that one? That one was kind of ridiculous.
No, I actually haven't. Is that the one that's coming? Apparently, there's a movie that's supposed to release, uh, like this week or next week called Piranhas.
Yes, so you're thinking that he directed this movie before in 2010, and it's actually releasing next week.
Okay. Okay.
Nah, I don't. Sorry, I don't want to be that mean to you, Book, but you are dumb. I just want to drive. It's our first episode. We have to drive home the point that you are, in fact,
Why? Why? Yeah.
dumb. No, but check that one out too.
Yeah. Come
It's
for the movie
super
reviews.
campy.
Leave for the Dill Bug
Yeah,
talking.
super campy, but good time. And then he did that one. I saw. I know I saw this one. It was on Netflix a couple years back. Horns with the dude that was Harry Potter,
Oh,
Daniel Radcliffe.
I love that
Yeah, he
movie.
directed that one as well. I thought that was a pretty solid one. So he has a pretty good background coming into this one, and that's why when this was coming up, um, with that and the executive producer Sam Raimi, everyone knows like from the Evil Dead and Spider Man. So I had high
Hmm.
hopes for this one, and I'm not gonna tell you yet. I mean, you're gonna have to sit through to see if I liked it, but I liked it. I did like this one. So yeah, you can just shut it off now.
All right. That's it, folks. You said 40, 45 minutes to an hour. I
Cut
think
it.
it's been
Send it to
about,
press.
yeah.
We're out of here. Anyway, so back to this movie. Um, so it stars Kea Scodelario. Can't pronounce that name either, and Brian Pepper, which I can pronounce that one. Like everyone should just have easy names like that. Like my name's easy, John Hunter, Bug. Just actually, that's just your name on your birth certificate, right? Bug. That's easy.
Yeah,
And
book.
and our new buddy Brian Pepper. But Kea is the daughter. Brian Pepper the dad. So those are going to be like your two main characters. Like you have other people briefly in it, but the story mostly focuses on them. Um, so basically, movie starts out with Kea plays Haley. She goes to the University of Florida. She's on the swim team there. She, I guess, is having issues in practice and stuff like that. You find out that she's having issues making her times, and if she gets cut from the travel team, she'll lose her scholarship. So, starts out she's not in like the best mood. Her sister gives her a call. Basically says, "Hey, I've been trying to reach our dad. Um, there's this Category 5 hurricane. They're evacuating everybody. It's going to be hitting soon. Like I'm just worried about him." Then you get a little bit more of the backstory. The parents are separated, divorced. The mom's out of the picture. She's has some new boyfriends, like in Paris or something like that. And you get a little bit of sense that Haley and her sister Beth don't really have the best relationship. She even goes as far as saying that Beth is a lot like their dad. So it kind of reminded, like, setting you up a little bit. To, you're gonna get deeply emotional in this story, and you wouldn't expect this from a cheesy movie about giant alligators eating people, but they do develop it well. So you get a little hint of that at the beginning. So long story short, Haley's leaving practice, tries calling her dad, isn't able to get a hold of him, so she decides, fuck it, I'm gonna drive down from Gainesville. She said, I think, would she say like it takes about like 2 hours to get to
Yeah.
where her dad lives around there.
Yeah, short 2 hour drive down south to go visit her father.
Yeah, so she basically, so she drives down to where he lives now. His truck's not there, nobody's there, and so she decides she's already down there. She's not going to turn around. She's going to go check their old house where they used to live. Maybe he's there. Um, so along the way, she hits a traffic block. The Florida State Police stop her there. Turns out the one guy, um, his name's Dave. He had some type of relationship with her sister before, so they stop, briefly talk, and was like, "Hey, I can't let you through. We're evacuating." And she's like, all right, I'm going to turn around. Well, she doesn't turn around. Well, imagine if she did just turn around there, Plug. Like, that was the movie. You're like, oh, okay.
That's it.
It
You
was
can't go down.
you'd be like,
Up,
there isn't one fucking
up,
alligator in this. What the hell?
okay. Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
so anyway, so she blows by him. Dave's going to come up a little bit later in the story. So you will get a little bit more of Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the alligators will too. Uh-oh.
A little spoiler alert, a little non-spoiler alert. You'll see when we watch the podcast.
You don't watch it, you listen to it, Bug.
And that's why I'm doing a movie review, because I cannot review anything else.
All right. Anyway, so she starts heading down there. So she gets to the parents' house, sees her dad's truck outside. So she goes inside, searches around the house, calling out for him. Oh, I almost forgot the most important part. The third major character that you're going to see in this movie, like most often, at the condo, she picks up the family dog named Sugar. So as soon as I saw that dog, I was worried, Bug, because
Oh,
knowing the
it's-
track record with the directors, like how gritty and gruesome you can get in the movies,
mhm.
and I don't know about you, but in any type of movie, a dog getting killed is so much more upsetting to me than any single person in any movie. So I was like, "Fuck! Please don't kill this dog."
Yeah, yeah. It's you're pretty cold-blooded if you decide to kill a dog during during an hour and a half film. That's what I'm gonna say. You know, that's you're the lowest of low if you do that. And if you've done that, come fight me, bro.
Yeah, so I was worried the second I saw the dog, but she picks him up. We'll let you know what happens to the dog. Hey, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. But so anyway, back to it. So they get to their old house. You see a for sale sign out front. Um, so she's searching the house, doesn't find anything. I think she sees the crawl space underneath the house. The door was open and something. So she goes down there, starts checking. Um, oh, actually, I think it was the dog that alerted her. The dog was barking. So she goes over to
Yeah.
the dog, sees the crawl space open. So she goes down to check. Her dad's some type of like construction man, something like that. So she assumes maybe he was working on the house, something like that. So she gets down in the crawl space, um, using her cell phone as like a flashlight. Or did she have a flashlight at that point? Anyway, she had
No,
some type of flashlight.
she
Um,
had the flashlight on her phone.
okay. So she's crawling through the crawl space, gets to the end, and sees a body slumped over. And she's like, "Oh no!" So she runs up, like, well, I guess crawls up. Up. You know what just dawned on me, Book?
Hmm.
Why the name of this movie's Crawl? I
Uh,
shit you not, dude. I was sitting in the theater the whole time, and I was like, "What the hell does this movie have? Like, why is it called Crawl? Like, if you think crawl, you're thinking like bugs creeping and crawling."
I actually didn't realize that either until I started to prepare for this, and I was like, "Oh, you know what?
It makes
Them,
sense now.
them
So
son of a
so
bitch done it."
anyway, the decent chunk, I would say, um, I would say over half of the movie takes place down in this crawl space.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So she crawls over to her dad, rolls him over. He's unconscious, and then she notices this big, it looks like a scratch, a bite mark around his shoulder. So she's freaking out. Um, Starts trying to drag him towards the stairs, get him upstairs. And this is where you get the first jump scare. And I know I looked over to you in the theater at this point, Book, and I saw you jump a little bit.
I did. Jump scares, they get me.
Yeah, I'm not a big
That's
fan of jump scares, but I think that um, they did. They weren't. You didn't feel cheated about these ones in this movie, which I can appreciate that.
yeah.
Um,
You had the feeling that like you know something's gonna happen. It's a horror movie. You just if you've seen enough of them, you know when the music turns up, it gets a little bit louder. You got a little bit of hope there. They're gonna get out of there, and then boom,
Motherfucking
scene.
alligator coming
Yeah.
right at you, blows the stairs
Yeah.
up.
Mhm.
So she's panicking. And does she get bit? So there's a lot of times in this movie people are getting like bit, and the alligators will let them go and stuff like that. Um, but it's so they basically she's able to finagle it where she drags her dad back, and she gets back under these pipes that are in the middle of the crawl space where the alligators are too large to get to them. On the way to get there, she dropped her cell phone on the ground. One of the alligators steps on it, destroys it.
Yeah.
Um, Basically, that sets you up for the you're in it at this point. Like shit's going down. Um, so her dad comes to a little bit. Was like, hey, there's alligators down here. She's like, I kind of know now. So basically, um, he's in bad shape. He's losing blood. She's panicking. All the while, there's a Category 5 hurricane starting to hit them. Water starting to come into the basement. Water levels are starting to go up. The dad says there is another um, escape in the basement. I guess it was further towards the back there, so she tried to navigate there. She tries to get there. She has eyes on the one alligator, basically just to make sure, like, hey, like if it's over there, I got enough time, I can make it over there. Lightning strikes, boom, another jump scare. Wasn't one alligator in the basement. There was how many, Boog?
Dose,
No, there was
dose.
two. There was two.
Yeah,
I was testing it. It's gonna be on the test, buddy.
I paid attention. I can ace this test. I got a weird memory for movies.
so basically, so she avoids that alligator, um, and shimmies up between these other two pipes, and it's by the crawl space. So she gets to the crawl space. She goes to lift it up, and it turns out some old furniture, like a cabinet, something's over it, so she can't get
Like a
out that way.
Yeah, like a dresser, like an end table or something is on top of it, and she's able to lift that up about 2, 3 inches, just enough to see the dog sitting on the hallway floor there. But the reason why it's stopping is the end of the end table closest to the wall is bumping the crown molding, which the crown molding has a straight edge on it, so it's blocking her. For her to get out of there, she would either have to find a way to move that end table off a little bit or just power her way up and break the crown molding on the wall
Yeah, I
to get
like to
out.
think if
And
I was in that situation, who knows? I mean, you don't. She was already a little bit banged up from kind of getting grabbed by one of the gators, and obviously she's like was in some distress there. But I like to think that I would just like be able to power it at least to crack it enough where I could just like kind of shimmy out or something like that. And you also don't know how heavy the
you don't
cabinet and stuff was on it,
and
but
from her point of view, she can't see what's happening. She's not sure. And if I did the same thing you did when I was in the movie theater, I thought, how would I get around this? Of course, from the third person perspective, I saw what was going on. So I thought to myself, maybe if I can reach my arm up through that crack a little bit and just shimmy that end table around a little bit, maybe I could
yeah.
be able to lift that hatch. But
Let's be
uh,
realistic, Boog. You're what, 6'5"?
6'6".
Yeah, you weren't 6'6". You wouldn't be getting down in that crawl space in the first place.
Yeah, that wouldn't fit. If
that
even if
that would be your
even
movie.
if I went down
You're like, Dad, are you down there dying? My bad. I hope you make it, bud.
there, yeah, I know. I'd go down there. I'd start crawling. I'd hit my head off a pipe, knock unconscious. I wake up and half my leg's gone, and there's an alligator right there. Whatever, whatever. That's my movie. 1% on Rotten Tomato.
One
That's all I'm saying.
percent. The bug that couldn't.
The book that couldn't.
The bug that couldn't crawl. Imagine the reviews on that. They'd be like, I'm not sure what we saw here, but it wasn't good.
Oh boy.
All right, so they're back down there trying to figure out what's going on. All the while, it's starting to rain harder. Water's starting to come down into the basement. The dad's in pretty banged up condition. Um, they're semi-separated in the basement now. They really can't see each other. It's a pretty big crawl space down there underneath the. See, that's the part too that was a little bit weird to me because I know from like I have relatives in Florida and stuff, and they don't have like basements, but now it makes sense that it was a crawl space under the house, not a basement. Um,
Exactly.
but
Their
uh,
foundations there, it's just pure sand. Sand and mud. It's very moist. You're not gonna have anything. So the fact
moist.
that it's a crawl space,
You like that word,
it makes sense.
moist.
I throw it around here and then. Really gets the audience's attention.
Moist.
Yeah, that's part of my movie. That's the only word I can say.
Oh.
I'm like
So while
what's
this
his
is
name?
going on, they can kind of see like the way of the foundation those like bricks. There's a little bit of like holes or whatever. I don't know if it's for water, what the design is, but they can kind of see out, and they notice across the street at the gas station there is a group of three people, which appears from the distance to be a rescue, like a rescue raft. You'd kind of see like when there's big disasters and stuff, people coming house to house, um, and so she uses the light that she has to start flashing, and they actually notice it while one of the people's in the gas station. So she thinks these people are rescue people coming. It turns out the camera goes over to them, and you realize that they're actually stealing an ATM from the gas station. And I was thinking about that. I mean, you are really putting yourself in the risk at Category 5, but if you're willing to risk it, you could pretty much just steal anything.
Especially down there. Category 5, it's coming in. It's gonna flood the area. It's gonna destroy houses. It's gonna do some serious damage. If you're fine with
Yeah,
risking
so
it
all
and
that stuff's
you
going to be
think you can
written
get
off
away
as a
with it,
tax
yeah,
loss anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
it's a victimless crime. I'm not saying our podcast doesn't condone looting during a Category 5 hurricane, but you find yourself in the situation. Not saying to do it, but do it.
We'll discuss this later when there's a Category 4 hurricane, and then
That's where it's blurring the lines. It's all about
yeah,
how big of a hurricane it is yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
so she's trying to get them. The one guy notices, um, and at that point, it seems like they might come over try to rescue them. Floodwaters are about waist deep now. While that person's looking across the street, like saying like, "Hey, like there's someone down there." In the background, and I thought this was a pretty cool shot, was an alligator was already attacking the one of the other people that were with them, and he turns back to look. That person's gone under, and then boom, he gets hit. He's down under. So the only person left is the person that was going through, um, looting inside of the store. And they had a pretty cool shot too. The camera, like the security mirror things they have, so like the cashiers can kind of see what people are doing. That's what I think they're for. But
hmm
um,
hmm
they use the camera shot on that, and you see the guy looking to see what's going on. You see a gator swim through and turn down the aisle that he's walking in. Boom, that guy gets hit. He's out of there too. Three down
hmm
so far. And she can kind of see this across the street, and things are getting dire. Um, then we get some dialogue between the father and the daughter, um, talking about how she felt inadequate about not being able to meet her swim times and stuff like that. You get a couple flashbacks too, where he used to be her coach, and he starts talking to her, saying like, "You have it in you. You're a winner. Like I always saw this in you." Um, Telling a story about when Haley and her sister were younger, and she wasn't able to do some type of swimming thing. It was like holding her breath a certain distance, stuff like that. And then he found her in the middle of the night out there practicing and stuff like that. So he knew that she has it in her, that that they can get through. So you get a little bit of that relationship. You get a better sense, like the characters get developed a little bit more at that section. So pretty solid parts. Next big thing we get is the cops from earlier. Um, what was his name? Dave. He
No,
he
actually, let me correct you there. I actually looked it up. Dave was
Dave was the
the
dad.
father,
Yeah, you're
the
right.
the police officer that had a relationship with Haley, the main actor, his sister Beth. His name was Wayne.
Wayne.
Yeah, He's played by Ross Anderson.
Wait a second. You telling me is it Bruce Wayne?
Nah, yeah. Unfortunately, it's not that kind of film.
Oh, okay, that would have been. Imagine that film: alligators versus Batman.
What's Batman's one villain name?
The Killer Croc.
Killer Croc. Ah, Crocodile. Doesn't work out.
Sorry, yeah, he got out of the film. So
Well,
the cops show up. Wayne and another cop show up. Um, he comes into the house and can hear them yelling from downstairs. He comes, he starts working his way to the basement. Um, and I guess she was trying to get his attention to come and open the crawl space so that he can get out. Um, and he comes to the top of the crawl space instead of like the other door that she's at, and she's trying to like don't come down, whatever. And there was like a 1 second pause. He's like, what? And then boom, alligator snatches him up,
mm-hmm.
um, drags him down. Um, and so she comes out of her hiding space and tries to help him out. Other croc kind of starts to grab her. The dad tries to help. The dad ends up actually killing the one crocodile with the shovel that he has. Um, and basically, so they're back under to the area they're at. The dad's kind of real messed up now. His one leg's fucked up. His like bones sticking out. I tell you what, this dude gets pretty beat up in this film.
They
We'll
both
get to
get
that a
pretty
little
beat
bit
up.
later, but yeah, they get pretty beat up. Like there's a lot of stuff where you'd be like, this person's dead. Like they'll bleed out, but you got to suspend some disbelief there. Um, so they come up with another idea, um, because there's like an emergency storm drain like that leads outside from the basement, so to prevent like overflowing and stuff like that. But with the storm, like there's nothing you can do. There's just so much water. Um, she comes up with the plan that she's going to try to crawl out the storm drain, get outside, and then I don't know what the plan was to get her dad out from there. I guess she was just going to leave him at that point. But anyway, so she
It
get
was it was it was kind of, to me, it was kind of like, what the hell are you doing? Like, to me, like, they were super strong humans because they got bit, like, I don't know, upwards of 5 to 10 times each, or scratched, or whatever the hell it was. What bothered me was the stupidity of the daughter's first first guess of how to get out of there. All right, everything's flooded. The basement's flooded. Let's go to the car. All right, they go outside of the car. Literally 5 to 6 feet of that car is underwater.
yeah, but I mean,
Well,
we're getting to that point. That's the point we're at now. So she decides that um she is going to escape out of the storm drain. Like that's her last chance. The water's starting to come up. Um, she's just gonna go for it. So she makes her way right to where the storm drain is, and then she's looking around. She finds one of the arms from one of the cops with his gun. Um, so she picks that up. She's looking around. She has it. She notices there is crocodile eggs there, so they're actually hatching and coming through the basement. So they actually might have been there pre-storm, things like that. Um, so she has the gun looking, and you get another jump scare here. Alligator bites onto her arm, like latches onto her arm that has the gun sticking out, and so she starts shooting, rips like the whole clip into this alligator, kills it.
mm-hmm.
Let's go. But now her arm's like fucked up. Like I was surprised it wasn't bitten off, but now she's free, and she decides to make a break for it. So she jumps into the storm drain, goes underwater, holds her breath, swims out, makes it back up, makes it onto the porch there, and that's when she realizes they can't escape by the car. They're
Mm-hmm.
super super fucked at this point.
Yeah.
All the while, the water levels are starting to really rise, and her dad's basically underwater with his face pressed up against the floor, trying to like get as much oxygen as possible. Um, so to save him from drowning, she grabs a crowbar, starts bashing the floor, busts the floor up. Which I remember you saying this because you're a big floor guy. You got a background in
Mm-hmm.
flooring. and we
Yeah.
were upset that she wrecked the hardwood here. But I would
The
say it was
hardwood.
either the
What about
hardwood
the
or her dad.
hardwood?
I know the decision you would make. You would save the hardwood and not Big Red,
Dude.
but all of a sudden, looks like they're going to be good, and the levees break. The siren goes off. It was like the purge. It's actually, I'm pretty sure it's like the same siren from the purge, which also would be pretty crazy too. I didn't think about this till the movie. The whole concept of the purge, like forever, many hours it is, like crime, legal, everything like that. Um, if there was like a natural disaster, does that cancel out the purge? Like if you declare a state of emergency, does that supersede the purge, or how does that work?
I don't know. That's actually a very good point. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'll tell
or
you
like
what,
a
I wasn't
or like,
expecting to go into this movie and be thinking about things like this, but that's just a little extra they give you there. They know how to give you the extra.
would you consider a terroristic attack or a natural disaster more threatening to cancel the year's purge?
Well, then would the terroristic attack be legal then? Because it's
Well,
during the purge.
it's not during the purge. It's like it's a tragic event that's causing the purge to like be canceled this year.
All right, so that's our question. Can the purge be canceled? Hey, put a pin in that. We're never probably gonna ever come back to that, but maybe.
If they make
Um,
another purge, maybe.
I think they are. I'm not sure if they are, but I think they are.
I know one actually just released. I think it was early this year.
That might have been the
No,
end of last year. Well,
maybe it was
that was
last
it
year.
was the first purge. It was a prequel. That one was actually pretty solid.
I actually haven't seen.
It wasn't too bad. Um, so they get in there. The sirens go off. Levees break, and just a huge wave of water comes rushing in. And there's not much they can do. It hits their boat. They brace for it, and it just launches them right back into their house. They bust through the window. They're back in the house.
Yes.
Um, so they start panicking a little bit. The dad's able to make it over towards the stairs. Um, Gators in the house chasing him now. The daughter is able to swim. She swims in the bathroom. Really cool set piece here where you see in the commercials where she's hiding in the shower. She does that cool maneuver where she tricks the gator into the shower, um, does the jump kick, and pops herself over, traps him in the shower. Pretty cool. No big deal.
Yeah, it was actually pretty skillful.
Especially after she's been bitten in like the legs and the arms and all banged up.
Yeah, she uses the soap dish as a kickoff point, and I'm surprised she used her right leg, and that was the leg that she first got bit at, and it did some serious damage.
Not enough to be doing flips and shit. So she's out of there.
Mhm.
Makes it back. And so they collected some of their like emergency supplies, like these flares and stuff like that. Um, and I don't know, like so I can't remember if the dad. Um, I can't remember if he. So he,
If he
I
was the
just
one that got the flares.
yeah he I know he had the flares.
Yeah, honestly, I forget
So I know he
how
had the
or where
split.
he
I
kept the
just know like the
flares.
next big thing. So basically, I just know like so he had a flare and he was holding it, and one of the gators comes up and just bites his arm right off, just takes it clean off. Um, so she's able to drag him upstairs. Um they're at there's like an attic level in the upstairs. Um, and so basically he's up there bleeding. You think like, oh, this dude's fucked now. He's bleed out. They put a tourniquet on his arm, but like situations like that, like you're still losing a ton of blood. He's still kicking though. He's still going. And they hear a helicopter, so they got the flares. They're gonna try to flag it down. She goes to the window on the upstairs, and the water's almost like 3/4 of the way up on the window, and you see it. And at the same time, this gator's coming right at her. Bust the glass.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Inside, things are looking bleak, and basically this gets us to the spoiler. So we're going to Uh, Stop here real quick, take a little break, but not really a break. I'm actually going to edit out that I even said that. That's the power of editing, Bug. But basically we'll flip here before we get to the spoilers, the ending. We'll talk about the characters a little bit. So, three main characters: Haley, daughter; Dave, the dad; and you got Sugar, the dog. Um, the
And
dog. We'll
Wayne.
start with the.
Wayne has kind of some importance.
Yeah, you got a little bit of more background. He seemed pretty likable. So Wayne, the cop, from the beginning, and the one that unfortunately gets eaten because that's what he was basically in the movie for.
Yeah.
He was likable. He was always mentioning like, "Hey, does your sister ever talk about me?" Stuff like that. Um, so he was like set up to be like, "Oh, this cool guy. Maybe he'll have a bigger role later." But his role was to get eaten. So not too much character there. But what I did think was very strong in the movie, and it really comes out. You through the time where they're trapped in the crawl space there, you really find out a lot more about the dad and the daughter, just from them talking, and you get a good sense of their characters. So I thought they were really well fleshed out. I thought they were casted well. The girl Kaya, I haven't seen her really in anything else.
She seems familiar to me.
Yeah,
I was gonna
she
ask
did.
you.
Let me double check and see if she was in here that I might know. She was in Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
Oh, I know where I saw her. She was recently in
Maze
um
Runner as well.
yeah, but she was in the Netflix movie with Zac Efron, extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile. And that movie was it was okay, but that's why she looks familiar. So she might be coming up in a few more things, but I thought she did an excellent job there, as well as your boy Peppers there.
Yeah.
He he was solid. He was believable as the dad, and they just had a good relationship there. But I think they did a solid job of fleshing their characters out in like
Hmm.
those little down moments, because this is a tight 87-minute movie. Um, and for the most part, before the I would say about 10-15 minutes setup, it's like in your face, but there's those little down moments where it lets the characters develop, and I thought they did a really solid job with that. And then that brings to the last character, Sugar the dog. Cute looking dog, but man, that dog is just barking all the time. Just bark.
All the time.
That's all that dog does is just bark and bark. Like no one's ever like, shut up, Sugar.
I don't know if you can blame the dog because personally, alligator, crocodiles, it's the type of dinosaur I'd be terrified to see that thing coming at me.
That's true. That's what else is the dog gonna do? Try to get down there and fight him? He should have went for help.
Yeah.
Like, go get help. We're we're dying.
Dude, the dog's not Lucy. What do you expect to happen?
All right, so that's your main breakdown of the main characters there.
Hmm.
Um, so basically, if you don't want to know the ending of the movie or any of these spoilers coming up here, I would say skip ahead probably 10 minutes or so. But basically, we're gonna go into the ending here, Book.
Let's do it.
All right, you ready? Hey, are you ready?
I thought I was born ready, but I don't think you can be born ready for a movie that came out 22 years after your life started. So
You'd be surprised. All right, so where did we leave off? So they break through upstairs. The alligators up top there. Um, and
yeah,
this is
alligator.
when it was like, you know what, like this is like I don't know if you can survive this, but how much do you know about actual alligators, Bug?
I actually looked up some alligator facts to prepare for this. So I'd like to think I know nothing because I only went out to one web page. There's a whole bunch of ads, and I only read the headlines of some facts.
Yeah. All right, so that didn't really add anything to it, but basically I was going to say because this is actually something alligators do, and usually at this point this is where you're fucked. So when that one of the alligators that busts through the window in the upstairs there. So while this is going on, the dad and the dog make it up to the attic, which isn't underwater yet. Um,
Mhm.
so they're up in the attic, um, and they're able to get out onto the roof. Um,
Mhm.
she is still submerged in the water with alligators. The one alligator grabs her by the arm and does the maneuver, the death roll. And so, what alligators do when they get their prey in the water, they do death rolls, and that's when they lock on. They got the locking jaw. They do the roll, turn them over, basically drowning their prey. And what they do after that is they actually take their food and wedge it under a log, and they'll leave it there for like a day or so it tenderizes. So basically, at this point, it's looking like she's going to get wedged under something. They're going to come back and eat
Yeah.
her in a little bit. But yeah, she
Mhm.
manages to maneuver out of this death roll, stab the fucking alligator in the eye with a flare, swim out the busted out window, and make it out to the house. Another alligator comes up, almost eats her, gets washed away. She makes it on the roof. And then she
Did you
gets.
see what washed that alligator away? I actually couldn't tell what it was. So she got stuck. She tried to grab the gutter to get up onto the roof.
Mm-hmm.
The gutter separated from the roof a little bit, and the gator came right at her, and she was able to use the gutter to protect herself from the alligator.
Okay.
I don't know that because
Yeah,
like I
it
said, I
happened
couldn't
so
see.
fast,
It
so I
was yeah.
wasn't really sure. We'd have to watch that again. But then it had a good callback to a flashback earlier, where like when she was a young girl, um, and her dad reached down after she lost some type of race or something like that, and was able to pulled his daughter up out of the water and was like gave her some type of speech. And then the dad was on the roof, and even though he only has one arm, lost a ridiculous amount of blood, his bones sticking out of his leg, he grabs a hold of her hand before she falls off the roof, pulls her up. So they're back up on the roof. Um, the helicopters flying over, which I said this in the theater, helicopters can't fly in hurricane type winds. That's just how
It's just
uh,
how helicopters
the
work.
rotor blades work on a helicopter. But hey, just suspend your belief for a few minutes here.
Yeah.
And it looks a little bit wobbly. It's coming, but she lights the flare. They notice her, and then boom, cuts to black credits. And that's where I was a little bit surprised. It was like they just sliced the end off. Like I would have
Yeah.
liked to seen them maybe got in a helicopter, or if you wanted to go real bleak, just have the helicopter crash into the water, and then this is probably how I would end it. Helicopter crashes in the water. They're like, "Oh no!" And then it's a pan up shot of them on the roof as water's starting to come up over towards the top of the roof, and it's those three, dad, daughter, dog on the roof, and the water's closing in. Alligators are circling around the house, and boom, then you fade to black. That's how I would have ended it. Super bleak, but I don't know. I don't have an issue with this ending. It just happened so fast. Like from the point where that alligator busts through the window till they're on the roof and flagging down a helicopter, that happens all in like a minute and a half. Like it's a lot to digest in that quick amount of time.
It is. The only so I liked the ending, but also it was very bleak. It happened really fast. You
Well,
see
that's
the
not bleak.
helicopter.
Bleak would have been if the helicopter wouldn't have made it, but like it was just so it was like a blur. It just caught you
Blur.
blindside. Like I wasn't expecting it just
Yeah.
to end. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Personally, I like a movie that you know, it shows it shows them not necessarily getting rescued, but it has like an after scene that just a reassurance moment that you see like, "Yeah, you know what? Yeah, they made it safe and sound, and the dad's kind of adapting to not having an arm no more."
Maybe he has
You
a
know,
robot arm, and then they make Crawl 2. He's just punching the shit out of alligators with the robot arm. I'd go back to the theaters and see that book.
I told you about my hook what was it, Hook 2 theory. You know, they set this perfectly up to
Oh, that was
have
pretty.
a
Yeah,
Peter
you could
Pan
talk
movie.
about that. You were saying that in the car ride back, and I actually thought I didn't really think about that, but that definitely might have been like an homage to that a little bit because they do have that one scene. I did notice his watch torn that, but never put two and two together because that arm that he had the watch on, that's the one that the alligator ripped off and ate.
Yeah, exactly. So earlier in the film, the father started to realize, wow, this basement's definitely going to flood, and it's flooding fast. So him being a contractor, him having some, I'm assuming some uh, common knowledge when it comes to hurricanes, stuff like that. He's been there before. He takes out his tape measure and he takes it down all the way to the bottom of the crawl space floor, and he's measuring how high the water is, and he's watching his watch at the same time to see how fast it's filling up. Um, so after that, they get upstairs, and like John previously said, uh, an alligator came up out of nowhere and just ripped his arm off. And my first thought, it was a
That was
little
something we
chuckle.
didn't really talk about too. I like so it didn't just take it right off. Like it pulled and it like shredded his arm back, like busted the bone and then ripped it off. And it was like it looked pretty wild. Like that's something in this too. We'll talk about that in a few minutes when we get to the good and
Yeah,
the bad. But
yeah, yeah. The biting off of his arm wasn't like you cutting Play-Doh with a knife. It wasn't that clean. Like he
it looked
bit
like a
the
believable like
arm.
oh shit like
Yeah,
that guy got his arm bit off.
yeah. He pulled the arm back a direction your arm shouldn't be able to bend, and his arm didn't bend that way, and the alligator just slowly ripped off his arm. But my first reaction to that was a little chuckle because if I'm assuming everyone's heard the story of Peter Pan, how Captain Hook was terrified of alligators, and every time an alligator was nearby, he heard the clicking of a clock. Well, like I said, my first reaction was Hook 2 because the alligator just took his arm, took the watch that was on his arm, and now he doesn't have an arm, so he's a reason to get a hook hand.
Well, I mean, it wasn't
So,
just like his hand was gone; his whole arm was gone.
well, she put a hook on that bad boy. We got Hook 2. Maybe Will Smith can be Robin Williams in this one.
I,
I don't
I
know.
I'd see that. I would see that. Take my money. I will see that. All right, so let's go
So,
into our good, our bad, what we liked about it, what worked, what didn't. Um, First, the good. I thought the relationship between the dad and the daughter, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I thought that made the movie. Like on the surface, this is like a B creature feature monster movie. Um, cool concept, but kind of like cheesy, But I think what really made the movie and really sold it, made it worth watching, was that how they developed and how it played out the relationship between the father and the daughter. I thought they did an excellent job on that. Um, like I was saying a few seconds ago, the concept that's a great concept. You really haven't seen that done before. Like you've seen different disaster movies, things like that, but trapped in a hurricane, there's nowhere to go, especially a hurricane of that magnitude. Rescue can't get to you for a while. Like look back to like Hurricane Katrina and stuff like that, where people were out on their roofs for days and things like that. And that's like a scary situation when nature's in control and you're not in control. And then to have those alligators out there, that's a totally reasonable thing that could happen. Crazy concept, but it could happen. So I thought the relationship, the concept overall in the movie was great. Um, Also, I thought the gore, even though there was some CGI gore and stuff like that, I thought it was done in a believable way and it looked good. Like that, the effect with the leg where it was busted and the bone was sticking out. That's like you see that. Oh, that makes you cringe. That's like what was the one basketball player we were watching that one game the one time that he came down and his leg busted for the Celtics.
oh, Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, and the
Gordon
bone just like comes out of his leg.
for him, you saw his like foot go to the side. You didn't see a bone because it was covered
Well,
up by a
there was the
sock.
one in the college a few years back where you guys actually saw the
Yeah,
dude's bone. Like it was like
it
that,
was.
but so that looked really, the effect was great there. The
Yeah.
effect on his arm when the alligator bit it off, but like kind of like pulled it back. Like I thought they did a good job with the gore in this movie. So my big three goods: relationship, um, the overall concept, and the gore.
hmm So my three good things that I'd say, I definitely put the relationships, the human relationships that they built it's from the beginning of the movie and towards the end of the movie, and how they reflected on it and how it built. the personality of the characters, with the daughter and the father's relationship.
Do you think
Um,
too that that was with their pacing? Like it's they're not overextending things, lingering on too long. Like they had really good pacing with that too. Like it just hit the notes, and within the time they had, they just they hit it right. They found the sweet spot there.
they did, and they didn't rush to get to to get all that information out. They broke it up in sections.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
got a little bit of the who the father daughter and the daughter sister or the other daughter were, and then you got a little bit of the background. You got a
yeah. It
little
was
bit of the
just a little bit
storyline
like
there.
in those segments, but they gave you just enough. They gave you the right amount.
Yeah,
Like they found that sweet spot.
yeah. Um, a second. Let me see. I know what my third good thing was that I liked a lot, but I want to save that for the third. The
Well, it
second
doesn't
good
necessarily have
thing.
to be three. It's just however many you feel. But I just narrowed it down to those three because thought those are the three big ones like that really worked for me. In this.
Well then, so I won't have three. I'll just have two. The second one that I thought was um, really unexpected for me was the production value. Honestly, I came into that movie thinking, wow, this is a super cheesy horror film. Alligators attacking. Who gives a damn? It's going to be low budget, low production.
Yeah.
Here it
Yeah,
is.
I think the previews didn't do it any favors. Like I remember a couple months
No,
back when we saw previews in theaters. I remember um, some of the people we were with. They're like, "Oh, that looks god awful," and I remember seeing it. And I was like, "Yeah, but like I kind of want to see where this goes." Like
yeah,
yeah, I agree with that. Like coming into it, I don't think I had really high expectations because just like some of their marketing, their trailers, I didn't think it really did it justice there.
yeah. That and honestly, it's horror films themselves. There's so many good ones, but at the same time, there's
So
twice, three times as many bad ones.
yeah,
Horror films are hit or miss.
and we're in a time right now where horror is huge. Like you see it all the time. Like
Yes,
um, movies are coming out like the Halloween sequel last year, making all the money.
yeah. The
People are actually
Conjuring.
putting the time and care into these
Yeah.
movies and
Hmm.
actually developing solid stories and it's a great time for horror movies, but like you said, like anyone could throw something together and CGI some bullshit and throw it out in a couple months. So
And call it a movie.
mhm.
So to me, that was the big one. Because of that, it really stepped up the movie in my rankings. Um, that made it a, a much it made it a watchable film, and thankfully the director, the writers, everything like that finished the deed, and they made it a enjoyable film for me
Yeah,
to watch.
I think that's a good. I think that's spot on. But you know what? I'm speechless, man. You really did me proud there, bud.
Yeah, don't roll your dice on me and bet that I'm gonna do it again
I'm
though.
not gonna roll anything on you.
Yeah, it fall right off. I get you.
All right, what was your last one? You said you had three of them.
Nah, just the two. I couldn't
Okay.
think of a third one. It was a good movie, but for some reason I can't think of a third one that's really come to mind.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so let's get into the bad. Um, I would say what didn't work in this movie for me, and maybe it was budgetary or things like that. Some of the CG just looked really cheesy to me. Like obviously you can't have um, real alligators swimming around actors and things like that. But it's
Yeah,
like animatronics or like physical props. Like that's always gonna. It's there's that uncanny valley where if you try too hard with CG, it's gonna look fake. Like you gotta find a happy balance, but there really wasn't too many physical props in this. So I think if maybe they would have mixed in a few more, that would have really like made the CGI a little bit more believable. But some of it just really didn't work for me. Um,
yeah, no, no, I definitely agree with that. The For some reason I always look for CGI and if it's bad CGI, I can tell.
Yeah.
it
Well,
sticks
that's
out.
it's so much cheaper. It's so much with the computer technology we have now, so much more financially viable to do the CGI. But if it's not done right, it's like you said,
It's done
noticeable.
poorly.
Um,
Yeah.
but it didn't necessarily ruin it for me. Like I understand coming from where it was, but I definitely think that could be improved.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
then
yeah.
and then the other one that I have an issue with, I love the pacing like we were talking about before, but that ending was so abrupt, and like you were saying, like I kind of like, so if you're gonna have a happy ending, like see have that little 10 minute ending there where you see the characters afterwards and how they've dealt with the situation, how their relationship's grown, like how the situation affected them. If you're gonna go happy or if you're gonna go bleak, like what I was thinking with the ending, where the helicopter, because that helicopter did look like it might crash, like it didn't look like it was coming in clean.
It was definitely
Um,
swerving.
yeah, like if that was gonna crash and have that bleak ending, like you can do that. Like so, just maybe a little bit closure, like how these events finally played out. Like she rips that flare, the helicopter's in the background, boom, black screen. Like
Hmm.
he's kind of left me hanging there. But that I had an issue. It didn't ruin it for me. So that's what I like with the bad here. It didn't ruin it for me. But that's
Hmm.
just some of the few things the only real two things I had issues with. Um, so, but yeah, nothing too crazy for the bad there.
So I have 3 points to touch on for my bad. I do agree with the ending. Like I said, I prefer an ending if it's a happy one that it has a what's it called, epilogue or something
Yeah,
like that.
epilogue.
Yeah, so it shows a little bit of the adaptation, the overcoming, and if they wanted to, in a good movie, it could have a little cutscene at the end where something's like, this isn't the end, something like
Yeah,
that. Um, the second major issue that I had was, how are they still alive?
yeah, that's
Both
true. I
of
didn't
them,
think about
both
that.
of them have taken, like I said, 5 to 10 bites each, scratches each.
Yeah, those
They've
aren't little
lost.
alligators.
No,
Like
they're easily, I don't know, 8, 10 foot, 12 foot alligators. Like
the
they're
dad
big
doesn't have an
boys.
arm. Like you would bleed out. Like even if he, that's the thing. Like where I'm saying, like even if he gets on that helicopter, realistically, like someone's on a beach and gets bit by a shark and they rush them to the hospital in like 10 minutes. Most likely, those people die from blood loss. Like
Yeah,
even yeah, you wrap the belt around his arm, but
that's not going to stop the
you're not
flow
getting
of
to
his
the
blood
hospital
100%.
if you even make it through the storm. Like
Yeah.
he really doesn't in real life doesn't have a good chance there. But like he was still battling, pulling through. Like his bone was sticking through his leg. Like
Yeah.
she got bit in the leg and she's kicking over. Like yeah, that's something too. Like I could suspend some disbelief, but um, just having some of those damaged battle wounds that they took, like that'd be pretty rough to come back from.
Yeah. The main one that did it for me, one, was definitely the arm. That kind of got to me.
Yeah,
Um,
the one where that with the dad, but then her as well when she had the gun and was shooting it from the inside, like that latched onto her arm there. Like
that's not letting go.
yeah,
It's that's how alligators are. They don't just bite in, like, it's not like a shark. They don't bite just to taste it, just to see if they can.
well they got
This
that
is something that
locking
they can.
mechanism too, like their
Yeah.
jaw locks. And I'm not 100%, but I think even though she did kill it, like it wouldn't release its jaw. Yeah, I'm not a scientist,
Uh,
bug.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a zoologist. I don't know that much about alligators or
All right, so what's your next one?
crocodiles. My final point, that is bad, is I don't know a lot about alligators, but I do know, um, why were they why were they attacking humans like that so freely? Just like, you know,
Yeah, I mean it might be a
uh,
territorial thing.
yeah. The only thing that I could think of is when she found the gun and she was sitting on the egg's nest like that. I can
Yeah,
understand,
that's like it right in their
but
area.
but when they were in the crawl space and looking at the people robbing the convenience store next by and or next door, pretty much. Why were they attacking them out there? They're not at all. They're probably 50 feet away from the eggs. They're not.
Yeah,
They're
I
not
mean maybe. I
burning
mean
them.
they were
You know.
splashing around. Like maybe they just saw it as like easy food. And then
I
you
don't
are in the
know.
water. That is their territory at that point. So
True. The only thing that I found here, let me see. The only thing I'd like to just during my alligator fact hunt. Um, well, actually, two. The first one, just real quick. Baby alligator sex is determined by the nest temperature. I didn't know that, and I think that's crazy.
it's pretty wild, actually. I guess.
Um,
Well, I mean, technically they're still developing in the egg there, so maybe that makes
true.
sense.
Um,
Hey, who would have
but
thought you were coming to this review? You're gonna get some alligator knowledge.
welcome to the show. Uh, let's see, where is it? Oh, uh, fact 13 on. I don't want to say the website. It doesn't seem very credible, but I'm gonna read you the fact anyways. Alligators don't harm or don't want to hurt humans. Um, Now it says here it's a common question to fear. Many people,
You want me to hit you
you
with
know,
some anecdotal evidence, though?
do it.
So, a friend that I had in college, their relative, um, I don't know if it was. I mean, I don't know if it's an alligator, but it was in Africa, so it might be like a crocodile, whatever was down there. Um,
Yeah, something.
they were the scientist, something like that, biologist, and they were down there testing different water levels and stuff. I guess to see like the contaminated, like if it's contaminated, if it's good. I don't know the exact reason they were testing like balances and stuff in this water level. And he was right along the shoreline there, and he went with like the testing to test it. Um, this person's like second cousin or whatever like that. But they
Yeah.
went to test it. The huge gator came out of the water, snatched him up, drug him under the water. They never saw him again,
Wow.
which would suck like for like his family and stuff. But I think personally that'd be like the most metal way to go out. Like you're at the funeral, everyone's crying. Like how did Steve go out? Like oh, he got eaten by a motherfucking alligator.
Them, them gators got him again.
Them goddamn gators.
So, but yeah, that just little recap
Yeah, a
there.
little thing there.
I like I said, I didn't like the ending that much. It was good, but it wasn't what I prefer.
Yeah, I would have liked a little bit more from
Um,
the ending.
the damage to I don't know adrenaline whatever ratio. I don't know. They took a
There's
lot
a
of
thing with
damage.
adrenaline stuff like that, but eventually your body goes into shock. It can only take so much. Like the dude lost
Yeah,
a lot of blood.
so much blood, and it's I don't know. So that was my second bad, and my third bad, of course, was the Gators' um, reasoning for attacking humans that have that were just around them. Um, I mean, crashing through the staircase to the crawl space. Um,
Yeah, I like what you said. I
uh,
didn't really think about that too much then, but it does make more sense in the crawl space. It makes sense because they're right up in the nest.
yeah,
But
but the guys outside, the cops that come on the boat, it just
yeah,
that stuff is kind of like really like that doesn't really do it for me.
all right. So on to our last portion of the review. Basically, we'll give our final score, and then who would like this movie? Because even if a movie's bad, if it's good, I mean, that's all subjective. Um, but or would it be objective? I don't know. Whatever one.
I don't
It's
know.
all your. It's an opinion. Like different people are gonna like different things. That's just human nature. But
Yeah,
we'd like to kind of think of like who would this movie be geared toward? Who would have a good time with the movie? So my final score, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Solid film. definitely has flaws, but the good definitely outweighs the bad. What would your score be, Boog?
Like I said, I expected it to be bad and cheesy from the second I walked into the theater and watched the previews, honestly. But um, it was an enjoyable movie, so I'd say about six, maybe a seven. Um, it was good. It was very entertaining. It kept you in the movie, which if you can do that, I already think you start off at a 5 out of 10.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Well, that's
it's very
I like your way of looking at what you were saying before. Like you come in and your first assessment is this watchable, and your anything else is icing on the cake. Does anything else in the movie elevate it to enjoyable? And then I
hmm
would imagine like if it's anything beyond that, it elevates it to great masterpiece, things
yeah,
like that. But I like that way
it-
of looking at it.
yeah, exactly. So um, I'm gonna sit at 6 out of 10. It was good. It was enjoyable. Um, some things got to me, like I previously stated, but above all, I'd say it's above average movie, slightly above average movie, especially in terms of the horror category, just because,
But yeah, there's
you
a
know,
ton of bad ones out there. This
yeah,
one is definitely worth watching.
yeah,
Even if you
I
don't
definitely,
go and see it in the theaters, if it comes to Netflix, Hulu, some type of streaming, if you're out at Redbox, um, I'd definitely say give this one a watch. It's a solid. But that
yeah,
would lead us to the next point there. Who would you recommend this to? Uh, any type of horror fan, particularly if you're a fan of creature features, even unique horror concepts, things like that. I would recommend it to that person. Even people that aren't big horror people, because this movie's not super scary. There's some jump scares, but you don't really feel cheated by them. It's not like what's one we went and saw, The Nun. That was just
yeah,
jump scares for jump scares. Like you don't
yeah,
feel cheated. Like so you go into certain movies and they'll do a jump scare, and it's always, I don't know why, it's like a horror movie trope, but it's like you think it's the killer, and then it's a cat jumps out. They always do a cat
yeah.
because cats are assholes. You know that, bud.
I don't agree with that statement, but okay. I would probably recommend this. It's
Even
hard to
I was
say,
even
you
non
know.
horror fans, if it's someone that you know is not big into horror, but it's just an enjoyable time because there's something there for everyone. Like if you like dramas, things like that, the that relationship between the father and the daughter, like
hmm
that's enough to hook you in. I think
Yeah,
that's really what the film, like the linchpin of the film, what the film hinges on, and they really knocked that out of the park. So even if someone's not really big into horror, they can get behind that relationship.
yeah. The best way that I can assess who should watch this is I would actually probably recommend it if you had a small group of friends over and you want to watch a horror movie. You know, something it has some jump scares, not a whole lot, enough to freak people out, enough that you can make fun of them. You know, um, definitely, it definitely has a has a feel for it. Like if you watch with friends, you're gonna be like, "Holy shit, what's going on? How they
Yeah,
do this? How they get out of there?"
and
It's one of those.
it's not anything too bleak or
Yeah.
too like you can have it on and people can be talking and getting drinks
hmm
and things like that. Like yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Um,
So
and the important
that's
part is the dog doesn't die. I know, and we forgot to say that in the spoilers. Because if the dog dies, I would say this movie's a 0 out of 10. Don't ever fucking watch it.
yeah,
but
yeah. Don't watch movies where a
but
dog
no,
dies.
7 out of 10. What did you give it out of 10?
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. How's that above average, Book? That's a D.
Well, if you're going from the ABC scale, I'll give it a C,
That would be a 7 out of 10.
which is above average.
Oh
But
God.
I'm not giving it a
All right,
C
that's fine.
because I'm not. I don't think it was worthy of a 7 or 6 or above. You
Okay.
know,
Yeah,
somewhere
nothing
above.
wrong with that. I thought I never heard your score before, and I was like, oh, when you said above average, like, oh, Boog's actually probably gonna rate it higher than me, but it's a fair
Yeah,
score.
I'd give it
Definitely worth a watch. Check this one out.
5 being average, slightly above average. You got a 6.
All right, so we've been rambling. So let's hit these little news items and wrap this up here. We got what, four news stories here, book.
Yeah, looks like it.
All right, you wanna hit the first one there? We'll talk about some news, some things that have been going on in the horror scene this past week, and just weigh in on some of our thoughts because
So the,
I guess that's what we do now, book.
so so the first one, the title is Adam Sandler assembles huge cast for new Halloween movie. Um, is this like a classic Halloween movie? What's going on with Adam Sandler?
So I guess it's from the article.
Oh,
It's like a
Halloween
Netflix
themed
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're looking at this list here, there is some. So we all can admit Adam Sandler's been he's been made some less than great movies in the past probably like decade or so. Like I'll still throw it on. It's Adam Sandler. Like
Hmm.
throw it on, but he's made some stinkers, man. But this cast seems pretty wild for this one. Um, so it looks like Maya Rudolph, Keenan Thompson, Kevin James, Julie Bowen, Ray Liotta, Steve Buscemi, Rob Schneider, Michael Chiklis, Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh boy,
The list goes on. But a bunch of
Tim
people.
Meadows. Yeah,
Um, wait, Tim Meadows is gonna okay.
yeah. Tim Meadows, Colin Quinn, June Squibb, and
The
Karen
most important
Barr.
part is Shaq's in it.
Yeah, you know instantly that Shaq's probably going to be. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Shaq usually has some funny scenes in anything he does because he's Shaq and he writes it that way. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, unfortunately, a Halloween themed movie.
Yeah, so I
That
guess they
that
give us a
doesn't
little
sound.
synopsis. The film will follows
It's
Hobie Dubois. So Adam Sandler's character's name is going to be Hobie Dubois. Hubie? Hubby? I don't even know.
Hu-
I might be out on this one just on his name alone.
Hubie
Oh,
is
God.
Hubby, and then
Dubois.
Dubois
It might be
is
Doobies or I know
Dubois.
it's like
Yeah,
is that in, is Dubois? Is that in Ohio? Like a city in Ohio, Dubois?
I don't know. There goes some Duke boys again.
Anyway, so a man who is mocked by kids and adults alike in his hometown of Salem, Massachusetts. Despite his deep love for the town and its legendary Halloween celebration, when something is really going deep, what? When something really is going bump in the night with this year's celebration, it's up to Hubie, Hubby, whatever the fuck his name is, to save Halloween.
That kind of turns me off right there.
Yeah, that
It
sounds
says
rough.
when, and then it quotes something really is going. Oh, I got an ad. What the hell? Something really is going bump in the night. That's a quote. I don't know if that's like Adam Sandler quoting that, or if that's a quote that they're gonna put in the movie, or that kind of makes me a little weird
Yeah,
about this.
maybe this is one I'll wait and see. Like, I mean, it's on Netflix. They're not really spending any additional money to see it, but
Yeah.
during Halloween, like I usually have my movies I'm already got down. Like I bust out the Halloween box set, so there's usually just Michael Myers on the screen there for most of Halloween. You catch the AMC Fear Fest, like
Mm-hmm.
there's always something. So I don't know. There's a little extra time and maybe get some good buzz. Or maybe I'll make your review of book because I'm like that. I'm running this show.
I don't get paid for that much to do it, so
Oh, I never said I was gonna pay you.
that's my point. So it looks like there's actually two cast members from the Saturday Night Live crew, not including, of course, Adam Sandler and them.
Well,
I'm assuming this
there
is
was more than that. Like Colin
yeah,
Quinn was
yeah.
on there. He was an old one. I Rudolph was on there in like late
Well,
'90s, early 2000s. Keenan
so
Thompson's still on there.
so I'm assuming this is current day Saturday Night Live. That's not including Keenan Thompson. Is Mikey Day and Melissa uh, Villasenor. But what really interests me is there's actually a few cast members from Stranger Things that are going to be in it. Noah Schnapp is who plays Mike. Kim Whitley, Lavelle Crawford, Best Bestie, Betsy Sodero, George Wallace, and Blake Clark.
They're all in Stranger
Um,
Things.
yeah, they're all cast members from Stranger Things.
I was gonna add this on here, but it's such a little snippet, and everyone already knows this was gonna happen. Um, but they did announce earlier this week that it might have been the end of last week too that they are gonna film a season 4 here for Stranger Things, and that this one actually might just be the last. Like, so it's gonna wrap everything up.
Okay, okay.
All right, we're done talking about the Adam Sandler movie. We know
Yeah,
it's gonna
it's
be.
yeah.
All right, so into some good horror news here. Um, so out of San Diego Comic Con, we got a little teaser, which I don't know if you've seen it yet. I know we talked about it, but the teaser gave you just enough. It was scenes from the end of the last one, but officially confirmed that um, we're not getting just one, but two Halloweens coming up, sequels. First will be out October 2020, 16th there. Will be titled Halloween Kills, which some people don't like the title. I think it's awesome. It's like a real grindhouse like throwback.
It's like
Um,
Machete Kills
yeah,
too.
I love the machetes. Machete,
Oh, excuse me, Machete.
machete. And the follow up the following year on the 15th will be Halloween Ends, which another fan backlash like, oh, I can't believe they're ending it, or other people are like, thank God it's ending. And to those people I say, shut the fuck up. Like, first off, we know if it makes money it's not over. Like, how many horror franchises, like, you got Friday the 13th, the final chapter, like the final Friday, Jason Goes to Hell, the Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Dead, like, they never really are gone. If they make money, they're like Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy. They're like the modern day, like Dracula, Frankenstein. Like,
If
they're always
it's
going to be around if they're part of, like, her culture now.
just imagine it.
It's the whole actually overall theme of the Halloween series. You can't kill the boogeyman, so don't worry about it. I mean, the big thing is what I take from that title, Halloween Ends, is that it's the end of the arc with Laurie Strode. So like this interests me because it could set up moving forward. Like, Michael Myers isn't tied to that anymore. He can go anywhere. He can do anything. He is the boogeyman. Like, that's makes it even scarier. Like,
Yeah, just picture it. Just picture it like Disney right now with all their live action movies. Not a lot of people are gonna want to see Aladdin live action, Lion King live action, but Disney's doing it because they're gonna make loads of money with it. So it says Halloween Ends. There's a way they're gonna bring him back somehow.
yeah, if it
It's
makes money, which
it,
it will, it's gonna be back.
yeah.
But so the real positive news, because I know we went and saw. Were you with us? You were with us when we saw the Halloween that came out in 2018.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I was with you and my brother.
Generally, I think we all liked it. There was some definite issues with it, but it was like the real positives. It was really well produced. You could tell that the writers, the directors actually cared about the source material. It looked phenomenal. There was obviously
Hmm.
some issues with it, but like, it was good groundwork. So I have real high hopes with it, and the good news being that the director David Gordon Green's back. Writers Danny McBride, Scott Teems, they're back. Um, Working on the script, and they said John Carpenter's back. They didn't say if he was doing the score. I imagine he would, because his score in that last one was phenomenal. The the music when he was stalking her granddaughter. It's if you go on YouTube and pull it up, it's called what was it? The Shape Stalks Allison was awesome. Like, that was that one that had the guitar like like, it was, he did a phenomenal job, and I thought that was probably the strongest part of that movie. So even having him back in any capacity, hopefully with the score, would be awesome. So I am definitely psyched for those two movies. Just sucks that we have to wait over a year, or like 400 days for the
Yeah,
next one, but it's definitely
October
gonna be.
16th, 2020 is when Halloween Kills is supposed to be released. And then a whole another year, October 15th, 2021 is when Halloween Ends is supposed to be released. So yeah,
Yeah, it's a little
it's
bit. It's
ways
not
away.
too. Yeah, that's like not like crazy far away if you think about it. It'll be here before you know it, but it's just good
Yeah,
to know that they got their shit together, and I think they'll do Michael Myers justice. So that's always good.
yeah.
All right, you can take this next one because I know how much you were passionate about this show.
Well, yeah. So the next one is one of my favorite shows. I personally am very interested in anything that has to do with the paranormal world, or views, I guess you can say. So the next one we're going to discuss here is a mini series. It's a new mini series, uh, Ghost Adventures: Serial Killer Spirits. It's supposed to be coming to the Travel Channel this October.
And
Um,
for those of you, which is pretty much everybody that's never seen Boog, um, he looks pretty much spot on like Zach Baggins.
I don't have the hair. My hair's not black. It's more like a dirty. I would say
He
dirty
doesn't
blonde.
shower.
It's
He
it's
doesn't shower.
it's more brown.
He's
It's more. It's
just
like a light
dirt.
brown. I do have
Dude's
big,
brown,
big framed glasses. I do wear glasses. I don't wear glasses the same reason why Zach
and
in
he's
Ghost
always
Adventures wear
he's always
glasses. But
fake scared too. Like, whoa, what the hell was that?
yeah,
That's you and Zach.
yeah, 100%. That's fake scare right there. Fake scare me. It's whoa, what's going on, guys? But I'm actually terrified. Um, but I'm actually really looking forward to this. This sounds great, in my opinion.
You never told anybody what it was.
It's a mini series of, with the host and the other actor. I guess we wouldn't say actors. Would you say actors?
Just the crew. Yeah, crew.
Associates
His
crew
crew.
of Zach Baggins here. So let me see here. So they were actually at Comic Con when they released this. Um, Zach Baggins once said that he wanted to do a mini series, and I guess it's the San Diego Comic Con right now that's going on. He actually released and said they are going to do this mini series here. Um, Let me see. I'm trying to find a little recap or little something that's going on.
All right, so basically, I'll take this. You're struggling here, Boog.
Yeah,
I
I'm
knew I
I
couldn't trust you to read. You started so strong, you just fell apart.
I'm trying to
But basically, he's
scroll.
going to go to four different serial killers, like locations that were strongly associated with them. And their main focus of the series is try to see if like negative energy either played a factor into their killing spree, or if them being in that place so long left like a negative trail of energy behind. Um, I personally think it's just playing up on how popular serial killers are in our like modern society. Like they're just huge. You go on all the podcasts, like oh, true crime, this and that. And like, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm not hating on people. Like that stuff is interesting, but I just think that's the main reason for doing that. And you know how I feel about the Ghost Adventures. Like I'm not that I don't find it any entertaining, but it's so like so fake, like so bad, but at the same time, it's entertaining. So you have to give them that. Like that's
You
what
gotta
people,
marvel at it.
yeah, that's what people tune in for in the long run. So if you can be entertaining, more power to you. And if that's something you're into and you like, go for it.
So just a quick some locations that they've said that they're going to be investigating. Um, One of them is the killer clown John Wayne Gacy's prison cell. Let's see what else here. H. Holmes murder house, the squirrel cage jail. Let's see. Actually, they only listed those two examples of areas that they are going to investigate, or not investigate, locations that they're going to be, yeah, I guess, investigating during this mini series here.
Cool beans. I might cut that whole segment out, Bug.
Yeah,
It does pay me
all
well.
the all they're calling it is serial killer spirits.
I could go for a bowl of cereal right now. All right, last
Uh,
one will wrap up.
all I
We're
got is
we're dragging
Cheerios.
on here. We're dragging on here. But the last one, also out of San Diego Comic Con, um, the next Doctor Strange film was announced. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and they're reporting that this will be the first Marvel Cinematic Universe horror film. So this one will come out first, but another one that was announced alongside it was the Blade film. Um, so it seems that Disney Marvel's taking notice that the horror genre is kicking ass right now, and definitely the, your brother's favorite comic book character is Doctor Strange, and he can attest to it that he there's definitely a lot of horror, dark arts, like even as far as like satanic imagery that goes along with Doctor Strange. So if they actually are gonna dip in towards a horror movie, they could actually do something pretty cool with this. So definitely exciting. I mean, you know as well as I do how well um, Marvel produces their films, and they always they always they always try to put a quality product out there, and they've been incredibly successful. Like the last Avengers movie is the highest grossing movie all time. So I mean, it's pretty exciting. Um, and I mean, we'll definitely be going to see this in theaters. So definitely something I'm excited to check out. I'm not the biggest Doctor Strange guy, but Benedict Cumberbatch, he does an excellent job as Doctor Strange. So I have high hopes for this one. Also, the multiverse concept's a bit too. Like I think that'd be pretty cool if they're going into different like versions of characters and you see stuff like that. Like that would be pretty wild. Like the one that would get me pumped is if they dip into the Marvel Zombies universe. That would be pretty.
I don't know if they'll go that far with it, but if they do the multiverse and they continue the series um, with other superheroes, I think that would be actually really entertaining, and you can go the distance for sure with something like that. Um, for some reason, the only thing I can think of with this story here, um, you know, being the first MCU horror film, all I think of is from The Office, Mama Voodoo Juju. So I don't know why that's the first thing that came to my head, but yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting. It's going to be interesting. Doctor Strange, if he becomes a sorcerer superior or whatever it is, yeah,
Your
sorcerer
brother's gonna
supreme.
kill you.
I know, sorcerer supreme. Um, it's definitely going to be a very entertaining film. There's going to be a lot of twists and turns with it, and it's going to be something I'd probably going to recommend to watch in the theater. Um, Now, a question for you, John, is: do you think it's going to be a jump scare movie
I don't
like
know.
like that, or because I was thinking,
Honestly, when they say that, I feel like it'll just have light horror elements to it. I don't think it's going to be
I don't think
anything
it's going to have
crazy.
like some jump scares.
I don't think so.
See, the I'm surprised by the title being the first horror film because I can see them actually consider the last Spider-Man the first horror film because for me that was more like psychological horror. You
I
know,
guess yeah, there was like a little bit of like zombie Iron, but
yeah,
like I guess this one has more horror themes. Like that was just Mysterio, whatever. Don't you
being
don't want to
Mysterio.
spoil it for people that haven't seen it, but I could see that a little bit. But yeah, this was definitely probably be more the themes overall, like dealing with the
Hmm.
occult and things like that. But yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, so
All right, that's been the news. Instead of us dragging on forever, that's how we're gonna end the news. That's been the news.
and the news has been delivered.
Oh, I like that one. That's a good catchphrase. Maybe we'll work that one in.
Yeah, I'll work it. Maybe I'll give an accent. The news has been delivered.
All right. Other than that, you got anything else? Any last things? Last little bit here? Anything on your mind?
Real quick, in the Marvel universe, if they do that multiverse theme with the movies upcoming, um, one thing that I'm very looking forward to, if it actually is done and is produced, if they do the next Spider-Man movie multiverse with Miles Morales, I'm really hoping that Caleb McLaughlin becomes Miles Morales. He's the kid from Stranger Things. I actually think he could do a pretty decent job at playing him. He's on the record for saying he wants to portray that character in upcoming films, but so far there's no official word if he's going to be in a movie in a
Was he the
Marvel
one that
film.
voiced them in the Into the Spider Verse?
I don't think so. That's actually a great question. Let's see.
Ah, this is dragging on, but that's for another time and another day.
Yeah, fair enough.
But other than that, I think that's it for us. Hopefully we weren't terrible, but if we were, fuck you. I don't care. No, for real. But
Just let us know. This is
yeah,
our
let us
first
know.
one.
That's
We
that. I
gotta
guess
we
that
gotta
would be a good
learn.
one. If you have any comments, questions, anything like that, um, shoot us an email at huntershorrorvision@gmail.com. I would like to have just called it HorrorVision, but someone else had that already, so just to be conceited, Hunter's HorrorVision.
Yeah,
But other than that, thank you for giving us a listen. If you made it this far, we must not have been that bad.
it's a fair assessment.
All right. Well, that's it. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you for tuning in your earlobes.
Shut up, bug.
Goodbye.
Shut your mouth.